But Rachell, I would love for you to introduce yourself and to share a little bit about this new paradigm, this what it means to be a thriving entrepreneur in the health and wellness space, and a little bit about your journey a little bit about that journey.
Sure.
Thank you so
Cool.
much.
Wow. So my name's Rachell Brinkerhoff, and I'm running the Drop Zone back there with all those amazing women. How many of you here have gotten an aroma touch yet? How was it? Amazing, right? You can't deny how good you feel afterwards. Probably passed out maybe 5 minutes into it. So my journey began almost 8 years ago in the essential oil world. And really, health and wellness has been a part of my life growing up. My family, they're kind of hippies and all that stuff. Let's see, 9 years ago, I was married and I was a stay-at-home mom raising 2 kids and running the back end of a very successful construction company. But I didn't feel fulfilled. I wasn't really doing my calling, what I felt like was my life's work. I knew that teaching, like empowering people, teaching people was something that felt good to me to do. I just didn't know to what capacity or how that was going to really work out. And I always loved wellness. I got really into being a raw vegan for a little while and got really inspired with learning how to prepare foods in all these different creative ways that taste almost the same as cooked food that was super nutritious and amazing. And I thought, wow, I'm going to create a YouTube channel. I'm going to teach people. I'm going to empower people. I don't even care if I make money. I just want to do this because it's really fun and I'm really passionate about it. And that didn't work out because the person that I was married to was just really controlling and didn't really allow me to live to my full potential. And so that was a really hard relationship, and I learned a lot through that whole experience. And when I was 29 going through my Saturn return, I decided that it was time to take my life back into my hands and do something totally drastic. And it was scary okay? I basically jumped off a cliff into the unknown abyss, and it was just okay, universe, whatever portals you want to open up to me, I'm game. I'll scrub toilets. I don't even care. I just need to do something different. And that's pretty much what happened. That's when essential oils came into my life. My best friend introduced it to me, and I didn't even know what they were. And around that time, my son was dealing with these chronic ear infections that were every single month. And we were going through the whole healthcare system, doing the antibiotics, and I was looking through all the holistic modalities of what I could do to remedy that situation. I was so frustrated because nothing I was doing was working. And I felt really disempowered as a mom. How do I take care of my kids? How do I help them feel better when they're suffering? And I just felt so frustrated with the way our healthcare system is set up. It's you can only give me an antibiotic, that was it. I remember thinking to myself, what were we doing before modern medicine came around? Because it's only about 200 years old, right? And don't you think that we were probably having those kind of health issues long before modern medicine? I mean, the word bless you when you sneeze, that comes from ancient times because when people would sneeze, they would die. Okay? So this brings me back around to when essential oils got introduced into my life. I went to a workshop, and I got downloaded with all of this potent information. I had no idea the capacity that essential oils had or what they held for health. And I learned that essential oils are the original medicine. This is stuff that's been around for thousands of years. It's what the Egyptians were doing to take care of their health. They were the true alchemists of the distillation process, and they would bury their pharaohs with vats of frankincense, and that's how they would embalm do the mummifications with myrrh. And the story of baby Jesus getting frankincense, not to get religious, but there's a reason for that. There is very powerful medicine that is held within plants, and we're animals. We're made to eat and interact with plants, right? So these were kind of some aha moments for me where I was wow, essential oils are awesome. And I remember when I got them, I just felt a little overwhelmed because I'm wow, okay, frankincense, what is this? What do I do with lavender? How do I use these? There's so many. I felt a little overwhelmed. And they kind of sat in my closet for about a month. And then my son got an ear infection. So I call up my friend and I'm what do I do? And she told me to get a cotton ball and to put a drop of lavender and a drop of melaleuca on this cotton ball and to just tape the cotton ball. Okay, sounded, a little weird, but whatever. I'm into it. I'm into weird things. So I did it, and about an hour goes by, and the discomfort that he was in subsided. And the next day, he was good. And I thought to myself, this is the skeptic that rises, right? We all have that in us. I thought to myself, okay, he probably just had a headache. Because I'd been dealing with this for a year, and the only thing that was working for us were antibiotics. And that was devastating because that's not something that you're meant to use for long-term use. That destroys your microbiome, okay? It's very devastating to your immune system. So a couple weeks go by, and he gets another one. This time it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and that's usually when they would occur, which means I have to get him out of bed, go to the emergency room, get the 10-day script, do that whole thing. And I remember at that time there was a recall on children's Motrin. There was a toxin, some kind of bacteria that had gotten into it. It was actually killing people. And that's what I was using to reduce his fever, so I was all freaked out. And then I remembered that I was empowered with essential oils. Now, I just came around and dosed all of you with peppermint. Are you guys all feeling nice and cool? Okay, so my son had a fever that night, and that usually accompanies an ear infection. So my friend's like, you need to put a little down his spine, do the little cotton ball thing. And so I did it. And I was amazed at how quickly his fever reduced just with the drop of peppermint. I couldn't even, I was like, whoa, what? And then the next day, him being better without antibiotics, without going to the hospital. And that's when the light bulb really went off for me. And I thought, holy shit, everybody needs to know about this. Like, these are amazing. It just totally changed the trajectory of my life. So for the first year, I dove really deep into researching, understanding, and just making it into a lifestyle, okay? And I had a lot of fear that came up in me because the way the company is set up, it's set up in network marketing. Which, how many of you feel weird about network marketing? How many of you get like these weird feelings, like it's kind of like network marketing, right? And that's how I felt originally. I was like, man, I grew up in Utah, and it's like the network marketing industry of the world there, and I've heard about every single company that's used that model. And so I just was ingrained with that old paradigm thinking that stuff isn't real, it's all a scam, da-da-da, okay? But I couldn't deny that the essential oils were powerful. I couldn't deny the experience that I had, and so I knew that they were amazing, so I kept circling back around to it. And it was a year after using essential oils and just being like a huge advocate for the benefits of it that I went through my Saturn return, and I decided I needed to do something different. And my same friend who introduced me to the oils was like, girl, you love wellness, you want to teach, you want to create a business for yourself. Like, why don't we do this together? And I was so open to any opportunity because I needed income so badly. I live in Hawaii. For those of you who've ever been, you know it's very expensive. It's like San Francisco expensive, maybe more. It's like one of the most expensive states in the country, and I refused to move. I did not want to leave Hawaii. I was like, I'm going to figure it out. And so with $20 to my name and 2 kids, I left my very dysfunctional, very abusive relationship situation and was basically homeless for a little while. Yeah. And it was scary as fuck, like terrifying. And I had made friends with this woman she's an amazing professional surfer. She's got a wellness center on the North Shore. I'd made friends with her a month before. I'd came over and given her Aroma Touch and introduced essential oils to her, and we became really good friends. And she was the only person that I felt like I could approach and let her know what my situation was. And she was gracious enough to open up her home and let my kids and I stay with her for about a month. And every single day, I was on the computer looking for a place to live. I was connecting with people, and my heart was super open, super, super open. And I just knew that I had some very powerful medicine to share with people. And so I was on a mission I still am on this mission, very determined to share the power of it, the power of essential oils. And a month later, I was able to find a little tiny one-bedroom apartment that my kids and I shared a little bed for about 6 months. And that was really humbling. And also it was super empowering because it was like, wow, I'm really doing it. I'm taking my life into my own hands. And there was a lot of hardship. There was a lot of sacrifice. There was a lot of trust. Like, you just got to trust that shit's going to work out. And it was just an amazing experience. The hardest thing I've ever gone through in my entire life. But we have to go through these things to be cracked open, to realize that we can rise above to bigger and better things. And with teaching workshops and empowering people through essential oils, I did that part-time. And then I started managing vacation rental properties around the North Shore. And I was doing that 7 days a week. I was working my ass off because I had 2 kids to support, right? And I had really expensive rent. And, I'd been a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. So now I'm like out in the real world going, holy fuck, how am I going to do this? Fully trusting that it was all going to come together. And it did. Every time I'd be like, oh my God, I have to move. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know how I'm going to have the money. And it would just happen in the most peculiar, synchronistic ways that you could possibly imagine. And I could go into that, but then we'll be here all day. So I don't want to do that. But come see me after if you want to hear more. And within a year and a half of teaching what I was really passionate about, which is essential oils, going around working with people individually, empowering people, having amazing stories come back to me about their healing journey, I was able to replace my income from my cleaning business, which I was like ready to be done and over that, because that's not my higher self. That's not what I'm meant to do on this earth. But it was great to get me by there for a little while. And then I got to step fully into what I'm really passionate about, which is wellness. And that's when I replaced my income, that's when I was able to take my business from, a couple figures to 6 figures, which was super empowering because how many of you guys want to get paid to do what you absolutely love? By show of hands. That's the fucking dream. That's the dream, right? To get paid to do what you love. And it's important to understand that money is powerful and money can do great things when it's in good hands. We have this paradigm that money's bad. Money is bad if it's in the wrong hands. It does really shitty things. But when you have money in the hands of good, there is so much you can do to support your communities, to help out, to fund foundations that you're really passionate about, to travel around the world and work with orphanages, work with growers, whatever it is that drives your heart, you have the ability to do that because you have that energy exchange, you have that money. And a quote that I like to share is, the more abundant I become, the more abundant others become. And that's true. It's like when you walk into a room and you carry an energy about you, you can shift the whole energy of the room. And all money is energy. It's an energy exchange. So if you're not right with how you receive, you really want to work on that and start getting right with the way you receive that energy exchange, because it's really powerful and you can change not only your life, but the lives around you. And so back into this company and diving really deep, I had to do a lot of internal work to get over the old paradigm that network marketing is bad. And I actually want to go into what's created that reality, because it's really important to recognize and acknowledge that. So we'll go into that in just a minute. But with a company like doTERRA, the things that they're doing to change the world is, people can't even fathom how massive it is. They've been recognized by Forbes magazine as being one of America's number 10 companies for their positive impact on what they're doing globally. So when I do something, I go all in. I'm like head first. I don't have to know it all. I go for it. And I've actually been traveling around the world with this company doing big humanitarian projects. My first one was in Bolivia about 5 years ago. We went up into the Altiplano, which is kind of like desert plains. And these people live very humbly. And we we funded the whole project, and we built a medical facility for them that services 10,000 people in that region. These were people who their main diet consists of quinoa, but because we are such big consumers of quinoa, they no longer can afford to buy their own grain that they've sustained life on for hundreds of years. And I got to live in the day of the life of this woman who was 23 years old with 6 children. And they didn't even have a door to their hut. And their floor was dirt. And her 2-year-olds weren't walking yet. And I just that was a real dose of reality for me of what's going on globally with poverty. And it felt really good to be there and to be able to give back to this community in such a powerful way, to be able to provide them medical services that they really, really needed. And we were building this facility with the community. So together, we were mixing cement. Together, we were laying brick. Together, we were building doorways and putting doors on and doing these things. A couple years ago, I was in Nepal. I went there a year after the devastating earthquakes that just wiped that region. People lost their homes. People lost their schools. And education's a huge thing for the Nepalese. And so what was happening is these predators were coming into these villages and saying, give us your children. We'll provide education for them. And so the families were giving their children to these people unknowingly that they were being sold into sex slavery. This is real shit that goes on. And so we've come in, and we're actually the only company that has actually built and completed schools in Nepal since that's happened. And that country's received millions of dollars, but there's corruption in the government, okay? So when you partner with an organization that really has their shit together and they go in and they see it from start to finish, that's when we can really start making headway and getting things done for communities. So we got to go there and build schools. We got to go there and build homes for people who lost their homes and were now homeless. And that was an incredible experience because, again, we're building it together with the community, which creates pride in what they have, right? There's a lot of foundations that doTERRA also supports. Like, has anyone here heard about Days for Girls? So Days for Girls is an amazing foundation that they make these feminine hygiene kits. And basically what it is it's a reusable feminine hygiene pad for when a woman is on her cycle, okay? And countries like Nepal, they can't afford those kinds of things, nor do they have it readily available. So what they wind up using is rags, and then what happens is they get infection, and oftentimes the infection, they don't treat it, and they wind up dying. Also, people's perspective on the moon cycle in other countries is looked down upon. They're not allowed in the kitchen. They're not allowed to go to school during that time of the month. They don't have proper ways to care for themselves. So what Days for Girls does is they make these really cool feminine hygiene kits that just look like a cute little purse so no one would know. So there's no teasing that happens while they're at school. They don't have to miss school because they now have things to take care of that while they're on their cycle, which is really important. And these Days for Girls classes that we do is we come in with a chart and we teach women and young girls about what their cycle is, why they get it, how to care for it, how important they are. And we also talk to them about the power of no, that they don't have to consent if they don't want to, because that's also a big deal in these other countries. So it's these kinds of projects that doTERRA does around the globe that is in alignment with my heart and soul. That's something that's really, really big to me because I want to change the world and I want to do it in the most impactful way. Have you ever heard that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together? Right? And it's true. If you want to make a difference and you want to do it big, find those people who are doing big things and partner with them because you can make so much headway. And you can just do amazing things and make the most impact with your time. And it's these experiences that I've had with the company and knowing the owners and just the people that I've connected with through this industry that has completely shifted my perspective, healed the paradigm that I held inside about what I felt and thought about network marketing. And it's really beautiful to see the shift that's being created because of the stance that doTERRA makes. Now, not every company is created equal. You know, there's definitely people that see the model and they see how powerful it is, but they don't really have integrity with, you know, what they're creating. Maybe their products just are a vehicle for them to make money. That is what creates the old paradigm that network marketing is bad, okay? But you also have to recognize that that exists in the corporate world too. Let's talk about Monsanto, okay? It's no different. It's about finding the companies that align with you and what you find important. Does that make sense? So I invite you to just do your research. And if you've had your own experience with these essential oils and you know it's undeniable and how you feel and if it's in resonance with you, then pay attention to that. And don't get stuck in the old paradigm that exists out there that makes you live in fear and keeps you from stepping into something that could be really life-changing for you. So, yeah.
Thanks for sharing that story. So I've known you for a year now. It's our 1-year anniversary pretty much this week. And I've watched you give talks and workshops and have so many people respond really well. And then there are a few people where, you know, with this new paradigm coming in, these new information, the old stories and triggers come up around fear and scarcity and old programs. And so what I've heard and even experienced in myself is like, okay, I love the essential oils. How can you not? I love what you're telling me and all of these projects and the foundations and whatnot. And I'm like, ooh, but I don't want to be part of a pyramid scheme because that, like, as a practitioner, that would ruin my reputation. Or that would mean that I have to go out and force all of my friends and scam everyone I know to join my business. And I'm just going to go and try to take their money so that I can build my business. Right? How often do we hear that? And I know I had that program. You know, and the transmutation of that, recognizing that when there's something that really works, that you believe in, that is backed by so much good, that is doing so much good, that the impact is massive, how do I have to change my story from I'm going out and taking from people and trying to convince people and force people to join this thing? How do I shift that, or how could I shift that into this is an opportunity? So I'd love for you to talk about what a pyramid scheme is and just that.
Yeah. So first and foremost, it's really important to come from a place of service. Like, how I show up is how can I serve my community? How can I help you feel better? How can I support you in your journey? And that's what my focus is. All the other pieces fall into place. When you come from a place of service, money flows. That's not even a question. There's definitely people out there who all they think about is money, and they're not really in alignment with a true soul purpose. And those are people that you don't want to do business with, right? And that also exists in corporate America. So it's important not to blanket statement, you know, one industry over another. What is a pyramid scheme? Man, I love this conversation so much. So when we think of like organized religion, did you know that's a pyramid scheme? It's a pyramid scheme. There's hierarchy, okay? When we think of Walmart, we've got the owner, the CEO of Walmart, we've got the managers, and then we've got all the employees. Let me ask you something. Will those employees ever become CEO of Walmart? No. So who makes all the money? The CEO. That's a pyramid scheme, okay? In network marketing, we are all on the same compensation plan. So it doesn't matter like who's under who or above who. What matters is how much work you put into your business. That's what matters. Because I've actually have people on my team that have surpassed me in rank, and they make more than I do. And that's great. I'm like, go for the moon, man. That's fucking awesome. There's nobody that's holding you back to achieving whatever reality that you want to create. It's all within yourself. You're your only block. You're the only person standing in your way that's keeping you from reaching whatever level of success that you want to reach in your business. And so with my experience of, I've owned many businesses. I had a successful construction company. I had a really successful spray and bed liner business. It was called Custom Linings. It was an awesome business, but that was fucking hard work. And we were killing it. We were doing great. Not my sole purpose. This is my sole purpose. And my experience with, healing my old perspective of what this industry is and going through all of the motions and just learning and growing, this is the most potent, powerful business model that's out there because you have the ability to create a pipeline of residual income that if, let's say, someone in your family gets sick and you have to take a few months off and care for them, and all of your energy and heart and soul is going into helping this person, and you don't have the mental capacity to work, you have that ability to take that time off because you've built your business in such a way that you have that residual income that flows in and supports you during those times that you need to take space. And that's the power of how this model works. Time freedom. How many of you would like to have more time freedom? More time to spend with your friends, more time to travel, more time to dive into the things that you really like your hobbies. Maybe you want to paint more and you just haven't had the time to do it because you're so consumed with work. Well, when you create a business like this, you create time freedom that you can then invest into the things that you're really passionate about. That's awesome, right? So, yes, the structure looks like a pyramid because you have a business and you're introducing people to your product. And if people like your product and they want to get your product, then you sign them up so they can then get their products at wholesale. Now, a lot of businesses in this industry are totally different. Ours, the way we have it set up, is you can be a member and you can order one thing a year. You don't have to commit to anything if you don't want to. A lot of companies, they're kind of starting to shift now. doTERRA is really leading the way and doing things a little differently. But a lot of older companies would make you commit to spending some would do 100, some would make you buy $500 a month. And people are like, holy shit, that's a huge commitment. And I can't even use that much product. And so I really like the way doTERRA is set up, that if you just want to be a member and get your products whenever you need your products, you can do that. And you can do it at your own time, convenience, once a year or every other month or however you want to do it. You're free to do whatever you want. So I really like the freedom that you have with it. I really like the way that it's set up, and it's not pressuring people to do things that they don't want to. And for me, I'm all about being able to support people with what they want to do, what feels best for them, and then help them create it. So, does that answer your question?
Yes,
cool.
It does. All right, 1 minute left. Okay, we can do that.
Anybody have a question that you'd like me to address?
Any questions? We are chilling today. Hannah. That's exactly what my question was, what I was going to finish with. So thank you for channeling that. What is your favorite essential oil and why?
Okay, well, this is a loaded question. Right now it's peppermint because it's hot as here at the festival, and you all got to experience it. It's like AC in a bottle. It's really nice. It cools you down. So this is like my festival favorite, which, by the way, I had a blue spray bottle that I was spritzing people with yesterday. It's missing. So if anybody knows where it is, I'd greatly appreciate it returned so I can keep spritzing you. I also really love this blend called Whisper. It is the women's blend, and it mixes with your pheromones, and it's kind of reminds me of the smell of baby powder and sandalwood, and it's really sexy and beautiful, and I really am loving Whisper right now. So,
thank you. Mm-hmm. And my favorite essential oil, if I could only choose one, it would be frankincense. Again, when baby Jesus was born, kings came from faraway lands and brought baby Jesus gold, frankincense, myrrh, and sandalwood. Baby Jesus is pretty legit, and if he is taking frankincense, I want some of that. Frankincense clinically, so for those of you who don't know, I'm a naturopathic practitioner as well, and frankincense clinically is being proven to be one of the best ways to completely eradicate cancer cells from the body. This is clinically proven. Now, there are clinical tests of people that have had brain tumors that use applications of doTERRA's frankincense under your tongue a couple times a day, as well as different lifestyle protocols. But this has been shown to completely reduce and eradicate tumor cells. Like you can search on PubMed at professional journals and see these kind of results. And so now it's so cool to see these integrative medical clinics and these holistic practitioners using doTERRA's essential oils to completely regenerate our cellular composition from everything from fibromyalgia to hypothyroidism to brain tumors to just like even aesthetic things like wrinkles and scars. Yeah, absolutely. So that would be my favorite.
Cool. Thank you. One quick thing I wanted to share is give you guys some resources. If you'd like to do a little bit of research, source2u.com will connect you with all of the growers that doTERRA partners with. We partner with really amazing small artisanal growers all around the world. I've met several of them, and I've gotten to see how this impacts their communities and brings in more abundance into places that really need the income. It's totally transforming their whole reality and how they've ever received. We're helping women in Africa be able to own property for the very first time, which is amazing. They've seen more money than they've ever seen in their entire life, which is really empowering for these people that really need it. So source2u.com, also aromaticscience.com. And we do all of our testing through a third-party independent lab. It's called APRC. It's Aromatic Plant Research Center. If you have things that you want to get tested, you can pay a small fee and you can send it to their laboratory and they will do all the testing. They have the most state-of-the-art technology to test essential oils. And that is a very, very tedious... Yes, you have a question? APRC. It's Aromatic Plant Research Center. Yeah. And then really quick, what else did I want to tell you? Okay, so our sourcing program it's huge. We really want to partner with small artisanal growers. So when we think of like supporting local businesses, that is exactly what we're doing on a global scale. We are supporting small local businesses. It's a global network, which is awesome. Okay, so yeah.
Thank you for contributing to the conversation and the solution, really embodying and bringing freedom culture to the people that you touch personally, as well as the growers, as well as the land. So thank you so much, Rachell.
I hope you guys got a lot from that, and that helps you shift your perspective of how you viewed the industry or the oils if you've had some adversity from it just because of the industry. I hope that this has helped you have somewhat of a shift. And if you want to go into deeper conversation, please come back and I'm happy to sit with you and we can go deep. So thank you for your time. Mm-hmm.